got the facial hair going too, which I was watching the game with my mom and she was just like, wow, this is kind of strange to see these guys with Yankee hats and facial hair. I said, some of these guys pitch better with facial hair. So maybe this will help
Rodon's one of them.
Carlos Rodón.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
One down, 161 to go.
Yeah, that's a long season. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. And we're on TikTok. I forgot to make a TikTok because Devin Williams stressed me out so badly that I just forgot to do it. So yeah, things happen. On today's show, we will preview Game 2 between the Yankees and Brewers, which isn't until Saturday. They have that off day today on Friday. Segment 2, Fan Mail Friday. We're putting Fan Mail Friday right in between the preview for the second game of the season and the recap of the first game of the season. And the first game of the season was interesting.
Yeah, 4-2 victory. Carlos Rodón, I think, one of the underlying stars of this game, because everyone's talking about everybody else in this game, but Carlos Rodón had a really, really good start. I'd want to say vintage Carlos Rodón, right? Fastball up in the zone was working. Bulldog mentality out there. Wasn't walking guys really into the last inning when he got himself in some trouble. I loved what I saw out of Carlos Rodón today. And, I mean, we've been real with you guys the entire time. I know I've read some of the comments lately where people want us to wave the pom-poms, but me and Stacey are not going to do that. Carlos Rodón is going to have to pitch like this on a consistent basis this year for the Yankees to have a chance. Really good way to start the season off, but this is going to have to go on all year.
Yes, he was efficient in the first couple of innings. Third inning got a little iffy. His last inning was a little iffy, but he looked good. He used a lot of different pitches. 7 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings. He looked good and got the facial hair going too, which I was watching the game with my mom and she was just like, wow, this is kind of strange to see these guys with Yankee hats and facial hair. I said, some of these guys pitch better with facial hair. So maybe this will help Carlos Rodón.
Rodón is certainly one of them. Now, a guy that should be pitching well with facial hair, but did not is, and I think this is the storyline that came out of the game, is Devin Williams. If we skip to the 9th inning, Luke Weaver gave you a good performance. Tim Hill gave you a really good performance too.
Mark Leiter Jr. too.
Mark Leiter Jr. looked really good. Yeah. So we can blow by those guys because they pitched the way they're supposed to. But Devin Williams struggled. You can't sugarcoat it in the 9th inning. Loaded the bases at one point. Yankees actually, we will have to admit this, played very, very good situational defense in Trent Grisham catching the pop fly in center field and then getting the ball to second base so the tag up didn't happen to second base. For some reason, a move that feels like the 2024 Yankees wouldn't have made, that they made in this game to keep it under control. And then Devin Williams got his ceilings under him and pitched like Devin Williams. Got a strikeout up in the zone. The changeup looked really good. I'd credit this more to opening day nerves. First game, there's a lot that went into this, right? First game with the Yankees, playing against his former team. A lot has to go into it, I think.
Yeah, I think playing against the former team was also a big key because they kind of know what to expect from you.
Yeah.
You know, where other teams
point.
don't. So I will chalk that up to that. Opening day nerves. He's with a new team for the first time. He closed it out fine. Strikeout of Yelich to end the game. Really great. Good pitch too. Completely fooled Yelich. Swung right through it. And I have to say, I kind of liked how when Devin Williams and Austin Wells embraced at the end of the game, Williams kept patting Wells on the rear end like, yeah, like nice job. Because you think back to innings like that. He threw 36 pitches.
It's a lot.
You know, Rodón threw 20 pitches in his first 2 innings, right? So Devin Williams throws 36 pitches. He's able to escape with only giving up the 1 run. could have been way worse. I mean, I was envisioning nightmare scenario, grand slam, Yankees down 5-4, going into a bottom of the ninth. And I was just like, no, please, let's not have this happen. And as you said, he got it together. He got his nerves out from under him, although he would never admit that he was nervous because in his post game, he, was playing it cool. But he had to have been. You're human. It's understandable. And if you admitted it, it would be fun. No one would hold that against you. I feel like some of these guys don't want to admit that they're human and they feel certain emotions. And this could have been a disaster. It may have been a disaster with a different pitcher.
Completely agreed. Maybe that pitcher being Clay Holmes. So, that felt like a Clay Holmes blown save. It did.
I was not going to say it, but I was thinking it. I'll admit it.
Yeah, and I've said this throughout the offseason, and I think this game is kind of a microcosm of that thought. The Devin Williams acquisition is so key for Luke Weaver because it allows Weaver to move into the 8th inning role, which is a lot less pressure. And they tried it the year prior where they found a diamond in the rough in Clay Holmes, thought they could be their closer, and then they went into the next year without acquiring a closer, expecting Clay Holmes to repeat the same performance that he did the year prior, where there was no evidence that he would repeat it. They make that same mistake with Luke Weaver, and they weren't going to allow themselves to make that same mistake. So I like the fact that they worked on that. You mentioned striking out Christian Yelich to end the game, a really tough guy to have to face towards the end of that game. I mean, talk about a guy that's swing is built for Yankee Stadium. It's Christian Yelich, who hits absolute bombs. Looking forward to his season. I do want to mention briefly, this is Locked On Yankees, and we do discuss the Yankees, but there's another player who did strike out with 2 men on base in the last at-bat of a game today. That guy's name is Juan Soto. He struck out for the Mets to end the game. Just wanted to throw that out there. You mentioned the embrace that Austin Wells had with Williams at the end of the game. That's where I want to go to next, because leading the game off with an unbelievable at bat, just to mention, really worked the count, got the ball up in the zone, and then didn't go that far. But the swing that he put on the ball, barreled it up, got under it, bent in the knee. I mean, you really saw the perfect swing out of Austin Wells. I saw a lot of people commenting, I guess people that didn't watch a lot of spring training, which is common in baseball. Why would they start a catcher, lead off, and everything like that? A bunch of reasons of why Austin Wells should not be starting. Well, he proved all those people wrong in his first at-bat of the season. He looked tremendous. I don't know who on their bingo card would have had Austin Wells having the first home run of the Major League Baseball season, but that's how baseball works. I thought that the at-bats that he had in this game, the impact that he can have, and one guy that made a great point throughout this game, and I'm interested to hear what you think, Joe Girardi said during the broadcast, it doesn't matter that Austin Wells is a catcher and isn't traditionally going to be a faster runner. It isn't. You have Aaron Judge behind him. You need Austin Wells to get on base. You don't need him to get on there and steal bases and stretch doubles and triples. You don't need that. You need him to get on base. And Austin Wells shows that he can do that with a little bit of pop in his bat. So I don't hate this move at all. I thought Austin Wells was kind of low-key the star of this game.
This is an unbelievable stat. He's the first Yankee to hit a leadoff home run on opening day. Ever.
Wow. I know. Ever. I did see too. He's the first catcher to hit a leadoff home run in Major League Baseball history on opening day.
Yeah,
and, I mean,
but he's the first
not
Yankee
a crazy
to do
stat,
it.
But that's wild.
Yeah, I didn't, and I was thinking back to all the opening days that I attended, and I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I don't think I remember anyone leading off with a home run. So that's amazing.
I can't believe Jeter never would have done that too, because Jeter was like a flair for the dramatic kind of guy. You would think that 1 year he would have popped one and start the season off, but no, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, he did that in a World Series game, but not on opening day. Another credit to Wells, the game that he called for all the pitchers, like tremendous. And I think it may have been Jack Hurry who mentioned it in the post game. 2 things. Jack Hurry mentioned how the high pitches were getting to Wells last season. That pitch he hit for a home run was pretty high, and he got the barrel on it. And Aaron Boone was talking post-game, and they had mentioned the whole people not believing that a catcher is leading off. How could you do this? Blah, blah, blah. What was your thought process? He said about Wells that he runs well enough that if he gets on base ahead of Judge, and Judge, like, he's not a fast runner, but for a catcher, he's a good runner. And that's what you need I mean, traditionally you would like someone like a Volpe or a Dominguez or someone who could run and wreak havoc on the bases. But if you have someone like a Wells who can do what he did Thursday, or get on base ahead of Judge, it works fine. And I like the non-traditional, the whole thing about everyone being shocked that a catcher is like, let's shake things up. It's 2025, people.
One guy you mentioned in that last statement that I do want to bring up before we hit the break is Anthony Volpe. We've talked about it on yesterday's episode. This is a big year for Anthony Volpe. He needs to prove that he's changed his game and become a better player. And this was a very Anthony Volpe-like game, which I think is, crazy to say, but a little bit of cause for concern, Stacey, because had the home run, which, not to throw dirt on it, but would have not been a home run in any other ballpark in Major League Baseball except for Yankee Stadium. But hey, you play with the rules. I'm not going to argue that. The rest of his at-bats were not good in this game. It was a very Anthony Volpe-like game where he had the one home run and then he just had a bad strikeout, lazy swings, had a really good game in the field. But I don't know. He's a hard player to read because he seems to put together really good at-bats. And then at the end of the day, you look at the stat sheet and it's 1 for 4 again.
To be fair, Peralta made a lot of people look silly. He struck out, 8 guys?
True.
Judge didn't look that great in certain at-bats either. So I'm not going to kill Volpe for that because plus it was a weird time of day. The shadows were creeping in within like the 3rd inning. And then you had shadow, sun, shadow. It was just really like a lot of the batters looked like they were both sides were having issues because of that. So I'm not going to kill him for that.
No.
I will say this. The Volpe Jazz combo, Jazz at second made 2 plays that, no offense, Glaber would not have made.
Correct.
The couple of double plays or almost double play and a double play, they look great. And you can tell that they were working together during spring training. And I'm excited about that combination up the middle.
He's a tremendous second baseman, Jazz Chisholm. I mean, you could just tell he moves really well out there, really smooth. Honestly, the way that he runs at second base and gets to balls, it's kind of an ode to Robbie Cano, where it's very smooth the way he gets
actually,
there.
Yes, there was one play that he made that actually reminded me of Robinson Cano.
And you watch him play, and as you're watching the game, you think off the bat, that's a base hit, and you're like, how did he get there? And the smoothness that he got there. Plus, Chisholm has a very strong arm. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see the way that he plays throughout this game. Also, side note, there's not really much else to add with the Yankees. I do want to mention, though, the newly muscular Ben Rice hit the absolute crap out of that double that he had to right field. Oh, jeez. I mean, I don't know what the exit velocity was. I didn't notice it. But, Stacey, I mean, I'm excited to watch Ben Rice's at-bats this year because, I mean, that ball flew off his bat.
Yep. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go live. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. Poor insiders got about 5 texts today. I apologize. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, it's Fan Mail Friday. It's an abbreviated version of Fan Mail Friday. We will answer some of your burning Yankees questions next.
There's nothing better than catching a Major League Baseball game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Gametime will take the stress out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as the game time gets closer, meaning that you can score an incredible deal at any time. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and it's supposed to be 80 degrees on Saturday, so you can count on them at any point to grab tickets to head to the stadium to see Max Fried's debut in Yankee Pinstripes. The Gametime Picks feature makes finding the best deals effortless. It'll filter out the fluff, and it'll highlight the top discounts in the stadium. And I love that I can preview my exact seat before purchasing. If I want to sit in a different section than usual, I get no surprises when I get to Yankee Stadium. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. Remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pin comment on our videos. That goes on Monday through Thursday, or you can join that Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. Those fans get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. The link is in the description. So, Stacey, our questions for Fan Mail Friday were submitted, and let's start off with the usual. You can read her off.
It's from Betty. It says, it might be a lot of pressure on Judge, but if he wins another MVP, do we go to the World Series again? I'm so excited for this season.
Yeah, I don't think, Betty, that those are mutually exclusive. I wish they were, because I think Judge has a better chance of winning the MVP than the Yankees have of going to the World Series again. I will say, I think the most feared team in the American League that the Yankees should be afraid of when it comes to going to the World Series is going to be the Texas Rangers. I just think coming into this year, getting DeGrom back, they had a down year with a lot of injuries last year. I think they're a team that's going to be scary coming out of the American League. But other than that, I don't know the American League player that's going to give Judge a run for his money when it comes to MVP, right? Like, with Ohtani out of, could you imagine if Ohtani didn't play for the Angels? Judge would be on his 4th or 5th MVP at this point.
Yeah,
It's crazy how many he's won. The only player that I can think that could give him, there's 2 guys that I think could legitimately give Judge a run for his MVP. That's Bobby Witt Jr. And that's Gunnar Henderson. But I still think if Judge has a mediocre year for his standards, he'll still have better numbers than them.
One quick thing before we go to the next question. Tyler O'Neill, who's with his 3rd team, right?
It's so stupid.
6 opening day home runs in a row?
Ow.
That's crazy.
Ow. It's every opening day. It's wild.
Now he's with the Orioles. Now he's with the Orioles.
They absolutely demolished the Toronto Blue Jays, which, I mean, we talked a little highly of the Blue Jays on yesterday's show. Does not look like a good start for them. Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. David F., the next Fan Mail Friday question, says, during the season, what is the ideal work week, including off days, for a major league closer?
I think it depends on how many pitches the guy throws, because they usually don't want someone to go 3 days in a row, right? It's
regardless.
Usually, like no matter what. And I think it's good that the off day is built in today for Devin Williams, because he threw 36 pitches on Thursday. So he should be okay for Saturday, and hopefully they won't need him on Saturday. But I think the ideal work week for a closer is, out of 7 days, 3.
Yeah, I think 3 to 4 is ideal for them. I know on days that they're not scheduled to pitch, that's usually when they lift or have a workout. And, you know, they go to the stadium and get completely pampered. They get massages, acupuncture, whatever they want. But yeah, general rule of principle now is a closer does not go more than 2 days in a row, ever. Right. So I guess sometimes they stretch them to 3, but that is super, super rare. And what they pay closers now too, you are not going to be seeing a lot of closers pitch more than 3 days in a row. So yeah, I think the ideal work week now is 2 days. Honestly, which is crazy to think about, because in the 90s, I don't think Joe Torre would have ever hesitated to throw Mariano all 7 days of the week if he really needed to. And now that's just not even a thought.
Yeah. Next question is from Eric S., and this is an interesting one. If you could go back, now for you, it's interesting because you're way younger than me, but if you could go back in time to before you were born, what Yankee moment would you like to see?
Probably, this is going to sound so jackassery of me, but I'm going to say it anyway. 96.
I knew it.
Just because of how special that championship was to everybody that talks about it. In fact, that one, I don't, again, I'm going to sound like a jackwagon here, but like 98, you could see coming. They won 100 billion games that year. You could see them winning the World Series that year. They were an established dominant team by 99 and 2000. It wasn't a shock they won the World Series that year. 96 kind of came out of nowhere. I know they were good in 95. I know they were good in 94 before the strike, but 96 was still a young engine that could team that came through and won the World Series. So, and plus I was born in 97, so I was technically alive for 98, 99. I would have loved to see 96. That for sure.
Yeah, for me, I think I would have liked to have seen the Mantle Maris home run race.
That year,
my dad got to see it. He actually went to a game where Maris hit a home run, and some guy dove in front of my dad for the ball, like from another row, and my dad was mad. He was so mad. Yeah.
How could he not be? But that ball's probably worth a fortune now if it was from the Maris home run year. But yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments in Yankee history that you can run back to. But not to sound like a jackwagon, I am revealing my age there. But yeah, probably in the 96 season. Let's go to Ethan Milano. It's a 2-questioner. Well, not 2-question, 2-commenter. He says, do you think the Yankees will try to play more small ball this year? I'm hoping to see more stealing and concentration on getting the bat to the ball and less power swinging. Do you think this kind of change would or could help? And then, of course, right after I send that, they hit 2 singles.
It was literally 4 minutes between the first, the question, and then the 2 singles. So
which is great. Funny. I'd say no. That's not the direction baseball's in right now. It is not now, when you call small ball, I think there is a good chance they'll run more. I think they learned their lesson from the World Series. Plus, they've acquired more guys that do run. Now you're getting a full year of Jazz Chisholm. You're getting Trent Grisham tried stealing a base today. You're getting, or yesterday. You're getting Cody Bellinger, who steals a lot of bases. Jason Dominguez, who can run. I think Anthony Volpe would like to run a little more. So you do have a lot of guys that are able to run on this team. But when you're mentioning small ball, like aiming for singles and bunting the ball, you're not going to see that. And likely you'll never see that ever again in the history of baseball. That's not how the sport's played anymore. Quite frankly, it hasn't been played that for a decade now. The home run swing is still what rules. Like, we keep saying this, analytics definitely don't win championships in the postseason, right? But analytics do get you to the postseason. They will win you 100 games, and they will get you to the playoffs. And then all these teams view the playoffs as a giant crapshoot, so why would you not follow analytics to get you to the playoffs? You're never going to see teams playing small ball, and I dare you to go find the team that does play small ball now. It doesn't exist.
Thank you for the question and the comment, Ethan. Our final insider question comes from Debbie G. Do you think the Yankees regret trading Nestor? Wasn't his fault he was brought into a game before he really had a chance to recover. He was a fan favorite and fun to watch. Just wondering what you think.
What do you think of this?
I think the only regret that they would have is just because of the injury issues. But other than that, they got Devin Williams.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, actually. I don't. I think they regret it because of the need for an arm. But they got Cookie Carrasco, who's probably going to do the exact same thing that Nestor was going to do anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they regret trading Nestor Cortes. Was he a fan favorite? Yes. But Nestor Cortes had the one really good year where he was like on Cy Young track for the entire year. Other than that, Nestor Cortes is not in one of the elite arms in baseball. There's a lot of Nestor Corteses in baseball. I know we like him and everything like that, but no, I don't think they regret it, especially with the package they got in return.
Right. Coming up, previewing Max Fried's Yankee debut, and guess who he's facing off against? The aforementioned Nestor Cortes Jr. We're going to discuss that. And there's one more Fan Mail Friday question, and we'll get to it all next.
The baseball season is in full swing. There's no better way to get in on the action than with PrizePicks. It's the best place for daily fantasy sports. And with PrizePicks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. And if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. PrizePicks keeps every game exciting. And this week, I'm picking Aaron Judge for more than 1 home run and Shohei Ohtani for more than 1 stolen base. All week, it's that easy. I'm setting up a lineup. It takes less than 60 seconds. And when you win, your payout's quick, safe, and secure. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, too, where PrizePicks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Now, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly when you place your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Stacey, let's finish it off with one last Fan Mail Friday question from Vincent.M.Durham1695. His question is, what are your thoughts on the new MLB balance schedule that was implemented in 2023? And also, what are y'all thoughts on the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets going back to 6 games?
I like the balance schedule, actually, because I was sick of seeing Boston and Baltimore, and especially the Rays back then, seeing them, 18, 19 times a season. Now it's only 13. Like those 6 minus those 6 games is so much more, I wouldn't say enjoyable because I don't like seeing those teams that much, but it's so much easier now because almost 20 games against your intra-division rivals is just it's too much. It's too
Agreed.
And I like
get better
and I
matchups
like
too.
yeah, and I like that they play teams that we're not used to seeing. Like as much as it wasn't great, 2020 with COVID, I loved that they played the Nationals and you know what I mean? Like teams that they didn't normally play, they played more than they ever did because of that. And I think that actually helped too, because I think baseball saw like, hey, maybe we should have them play different teams instead of just like, oh, every 4 years you get to play the Dodgers, the Padres, and this, and now it's like all the time. So I like it this way.
Yeah, and you get to see teams that you don't frequently get to see the Yankees play against either, which I think is cool. Now, I know if you're an older Yankee fan, you probably don't find it weird, but Yankees Brewers on opening day is a weird matchup for me. I know the Brewers used to be in the same division as the Yankees, so it's a little bit different, but
yeah, and it wasn't a weird matchup. They always played on my birthday for some reason back in the day. Like they played on my birthday a lot. Actually, I believe the Yankees walked off against the Brewers on my Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, but like Dodgers Tigers is the opening day matchup today. It's a lot of really fun, interesting matchups. So I enjoy it. I don't have a problem with it at all. And as the Yankees and Mets going back to the 6-game format, perfect year for Major League Baseball to get that to be the 6-game format, right?
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Clay Holmes, by the way, went what was it? Gave up 3 runs over 5 innings in his debut for the Mets, and again, Juan Soto struck out with 2 men on to end the game. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, Holmes pitched a scoreless first, gave up 1 in the second, 2 in the third. That's how it broke down. And yeah, Soto, and he swung badly at the pitch too, which was surprising. I saw the highlight of it just before we started recording because a friend of mine was making fun of it. And I'm like, look, it's day 1 of 162, but is it a little nice to see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're petty, okay? We'll admit it.
Deal with it. Get over it. I'm petty. I'm annoyed that he took more money to go to the Mets, but it was a little gratifying to watch.
Yeah. Game 2, Saturday, because of the built-in off day today. Max Fried against Nestor Cortes Jr. And as you said in the Gametime ad, it's going to be 80 degrees on Saturday. It's supposed to be unbelievably warm.
Yeah, I don't know how, but yeah, it's going to be like 80 degrees on Saturday. So Max Fried will get a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe a taste of Atlanta. He'll feel a little more comfortable.
He's going to feel like he's back down in hot Atlanta. That'll be nice.
Yeah. Speaking of Max Fried, last year, 11-10 with a 3.25 ERA, had 166 strikeouts. Now, I am mentioning this only because I have a real gripe with the way that Baseball Reference has been putting their projections out there. I don't know if you've been following these. They all seem drastically off from what you'd think these guys are going to do this year.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Max Fried's projection this year is 11-7 with a 3.25 ERA. I don't. Is he really going to go 11-7? That just doesn't seem like.
ERA seems fine because it's the same as 2024, but 11-7 seems.
Yeah, I can't picture him having 11 wins this year. He's too good. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Max Fried did finish the spring off, giving up 6 runs with 16 innings total pitched. And like you mentioned, they're gonna be seeing a former friend in Nestor Cortes. He's obviously gonna go 7 shutout innings, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
because that's just how it works.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be another pitching duel because the Yankees ended up scoring 4 runs, but for a while there, it was really just Volpe and Wells. So it could be another one of those games that comes down to the later innings and bullpen matchups.
Which I'm excited for. I'm excited to watch Nestor go up against them. Also, I do want to mention this. I know the built-in off day is built in on the Friday in case they get rain on the Thursday so they can move it to Friday. I get it. But it's so frustrating to finally get baseball back and you watch the game all day and then all of a sudden it's like it's a little, it's the appetizer comes out and you go to a restaurant for dinner, they bring the bread out to the table and you only get like 1 piece of bread. and you're so hungry and you're teased. It's not a good feeling, right? I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but the 1 day off just is so aggravating.
Yeah, no, it is. I get why they do it, but when the weather is nice and there's no reason for the off day, it's frustrating because you wait. It feels like you wait so long for it. Spring training feels so long. It's only 6 weeks, but the 6 weeks drag. You finally get to opening day, and especially after a win, you want to see them play again. maybe if they lost, we'd be like, all right, maybe we need an off day. Like, especially if the ninth inning went a lot worse than it did, we might have been sitting here going, yeah, it's fine that today's an off day. Perfectly fine.
Also, interested to see what Jackson Chirios does because one of the top tier prospects in all of baseball and can really, really hit the ball. 5 strikeouts on opening day.
Swinging.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
Yeah, because I was, as I said, I was watching with my mom, so I was explaining things to her. I said, this kid is really young. I'm like, he's still really young. He's a good player. And then, but it happens. I mean, to the best of them, we've seen Aaron Judge have games where he's struck out a number of times. So I expect him to rebound over the weekend. And who else on that team was I was actually impressed with Peralta with some of the pitches that he threw, because I knew that he, we had previewed it on Wednesday's episode. They had kind of a rough spring training, but again, spring training doesn't really mean anything, although it meant something to Austin Wells and Ben Rice, who both hit the ball hard. Just Rice hit the wall and it turned into a single, an error, but good all around for the Yankees.
I didn't want to mention this one more time though. I know we're not rooting for it, but I want to get your take on it. Obviously we're not rooting for it, but it does feel like there's potential for it. Do you think Aaron Judge starts the year off slow again?
It's possible.
The spring that he had was not like it was not being mentioned. And to Aaron Judge's credit, he's so good that it deserves to not be mentioned, right? But his spring was not good at all.
Yeah. I know he was playing with a heavy heart today because I completely forgot. And I think either Bob Lorenz or Jack Curry mentioned it on the post game. He lived with the Gardners when he first came up.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So he's close with that family, and they asked him about it. You could tell he was having trouble coming up with something to say about everything that happened. They held a moment of silence for Miller Gardner at the stadium on Thursday. Let me say this. Well done by the crowd. Not one peep. Because when sometimes they do a moment of silence and you have some person like whistle out of nowhere and just do something. Nothing. You could have heard a pin drop. I was so impressed with the crowd. Good job by you guys who were there, because you were supposed to be silent during a moment of silence. Boone, you could tell he was kind of losing it during the moment of silence. And when I realized the Gardner Judge connection, I was like, okay, so he was playing with a heavy heart on Thursday. Maybe it feels better on Saturday. He gets with it. He made solid contact with the ball that hit third base, and, they were able to get something done there. And maybe that helps him too, because he did look a little iffy in his first few bats, and maybe that will get him over the hump.
I'm sure it'll be a storyline, so we'll keep track of it.
Yeah. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On MLB season previews, every contender, every division, everything you need to know. You can find all 6 episodes on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this opening day recap edition and Fan Mail Friday edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys next week.